Zheng plucked his ears and refused to listen to them. Zheng was home after a long voyage, and he became obsessed in trying to suppress his transformation. Every day he would shave himself and bathe himself in seawater. He wore high collars and long sleeves to hide the powdery sand from his skin. The day when he arrived, he didn't went back home, but to see the surgeon. He instructed the surgeon to help him stop all this transformation. The surgeon then put him to sleep. When Zheng woke up, he found his armpits full of sticky tar, and his skin were all glued up, and his feet were amputated and replaced by wooden ones. Zheng looked into the mirror and thought he looked bizarre, but he was glad he was still a human. He paid the surgeon and hobbled home with his wooden feet. When his wife saw him, she almost fainted. "What on earth happened to you? What have you done to yourself?" she cried. He invented a lie about being injured trying to save a man's life at the sea, and his gluey skin was due to the allergy reaction to the sun. He even lied about finding his father's body on Cocobolo. Liu Zhi, he told them, was dead. But everybody was more interested in the rubies that he brought home, so they did not probe further. For a time, life was good. Zheng's bizarre growths stopped, and he got used to his wooden feet. The rubies he brought home made him rich and famous. He was not only a rich man, he was an explorer who discovered Cocobolo and had returned to tell his story. Zheng tried to convince himself that he was happy. He even tried to convince himself to believe that his father was really dead, and that the island couldn't be his real father. But sometimes, at the harbor, he could still hear the whales sing, trying to convince him to go back to Cocobolo. Gradually, pressure started to build up inside him. He could feel the seaweed, the grass, and the sand trying to grow out from his body. Whenever he was near the water, it seemed to remind his body that what it was really meant to be. So Zheng stopped going near the water. He even stopped sailing on the ship. He bought a house in the city, far away from the ocean, so that he would never see it again. But he could still feel the pressure every time he washed his face and bathed, and if he touches the rain. So he stopped bathing and washing his face, and when it was raining, he would never go out. Later, he would not even drink water. But when he was really thirsty, he would wet a cloth and suck on it. So years passed by. Zheng refused to touch a drop of water. Old and dry, Zheng began to look like a very large raisin. He and his wife never had children, because partly he was glued from top to bottom, but also he doesn't want any of his children to be like him. One day, Zheng was looking through his drawers. He found a silk bag. In it was a ruby. He sold the rest a long time ago and thought this one was lost. And he held the ruby in his hand. It was cool and heavy, and it reminded him of his father.